And we begin with a deep breath. And another. supported by all, by the all. Lesson 87 in A Course in Miracles. It is a review of two ideas. The first idea we are reviewing is lesson 73. And if you have the book, beautiful. Or if you do not, it is available to you at acim.org. I will there be light. I will use the power of my will today. It is not my will to grope about in darkness, fearful of shadows and afraid of things unseen and unreal. Light shall be my guide today. I will follow it where it leads me, and I will look only on what it shows me. This day I will experience the peace of true perception. These forms of this idea would be helpful for specific applications. Remember, if something comes up today in the game that we know is the third dimension, oh, this fun game. If something comes up today that tempts us, temptation, what is temptation? To slide into egoic patterns of reaction. We can use this ammo, this light ammunition. This cannot hide the light I will to see. The situation arises, this cannot hide the light. Because I will to see the light. I've decided. And when a divine being decides, that's what it is. You stand with me in light, name. A grievance comes up about a person, a memory, and something happens with regard to anyone. And rightly, we correct it in the mind where the problem is. You stand with me in light. Name. In the light, this will look different. We remember that we are light bringers, light bearers, and we are the light, and we are the light. I will there be light. We bring light to every situation. The second idea we are reviewing today is lesson 74. There is no will but God's. And God's being not a person in the sky, the universe, the all, quantum field, source, in whom we live and breathe and move and have our existence. I am safe today because there is no will but God's. This universe cannot will anything for anyone other than good. I can become afraid only when I believe there is another will. I try to attack only when I am afraid, and only when I try to attack can I believe that my eternal safety is threatened. Our eternal safety is never threatened. A divine being cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed. Nothing in the whole universe can threaten the universe. The universe is not a house divided against itself. Today, I will recognize that all this has not occurred. We can make up a lot of stories in our mind, however. I am safe because there is no will but God's. I'm safe, nothing's out to get me. No one's trying to attack me, and I'm not trying to attack anyone else. I'm at peace with everyone and everything. These are some useful forms of this idea for specific applications. Here are more specific applications of today's idea, lesson 74, there is no will but God's. We could say there is no will but love's. Love is the only true will. These are some useful forms of this idea for specific applications. Let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. In other words, let me perceive this in accordance with the will of love. Because I am love, I come from love. Love created me like itself. I'm the love of the universe. Let me perceive this according to love. It is God's will. You are his son, name, and mine as well. We are now aligning and understanding that God's will is for all of God, not just some people, not just this color people, those religions, that creed, that group, it's for all is one. So we join with others, and so we say we have a common will because we have a common source, because we came from the same place, this gorgeous universe. This is part of God's will for me, however I may see it. So we look at things so we can change how we look at things. That is lesson 87 in A Course in Miracles. And the two lessons that we were reviewing is lesson 73 and lesson 74. Lesson 73, I will there be light. Lesson 74, there is no will but God's. I did not do screen share. Thank you, family, for being patient with the live stream on YouTube and Facebook. The live stream lately has been a tiny bit, I don't know, a little bit strange, just a tad bit strange. Okay. We are now we have a special guest today. Oh, okay. Do we have sound in the room, mods? Harmony, do we have sound in the room on Clubhouse? This is very strange. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sound in Clubhouse? Oh, I'm muted? That is strange because I'm muted. Oh, no sound on Clubhouse. Strange. Okay, let me leave and come back in. It says my mic is muted. Very interesting. As you can see, my mic is not muted. Okay, let's do that again. Let's go back in again. Do I have sound yet on Clubhouse? Okay. Let's do this. Let's switch connections. Thank you for your patience, family. Hola. Okay, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to close the app and come back in. This is very strange. No, I don't hear anyone speaking on Clubhouse, and they don't hear me. That's a very fascinating thing right there. I'm going to try that again. Hello? Are you all hearing me?
Hey, girl, hey.
Oh my goodness, what was that?
I don't know.
That was, so you all didn't hear the chorus today?
We heard it on YouTube.
Oh, did somebody open a mic and let it stream to you from YouTube?
I don't have the ability to do that. I have too much barking in the background.
Oh, okay. Mods, did the room hear the ACIM lesson for today?
No, we didn't.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. A review means another review. Okay. Here we go. This time we're going screen share. We got it, family. And we're back. We have it, family. Let's go in again. A Course in Miracles, Lesson 87, is a review of 2 ideas. Our review today will cover these ideas. 73, I will there be light. I will use the power of my will today. Let me be sure, yep, we're screen sharing. I will there be light. I'll use the power of my will today. It is not my will to grope about in darkness, fearful of shadows and afraid of things unseen and unreal. Light shall be my guide today. I will follow it where it leads me, and I will look only on what it shows me. This day, I will experience the peace of true perception. These forms of this idea would be helpful for specific applications. This cannot hide the light I will to see. Something comes up in our world today. We are ready. We will bring the light and we will tell ourselves, this cannot hide the light I will to see, because I will there be light. I will there be light. I'm bringing the light and I am the light and I'm of the light, and this can't hide the light. That's another way of saying, I refuse to make this into a grievance. You stand with me in light. Name, fill in the name. You stand with me in light. This is the experience of oneness with someone who may be giving you the opportunity to practice A Course in Miracles. In the light, this will look different. We tell ourselves, in the light, this will look different. So it's a statement of changing my mind. The second idea we are reviewing today is lesson 74, there is no will but God's, or we could say there is no will but love's, or we could say there is no will but the will of the universe, which is oneness, allness, perfection, beauty, power, strength. There is no morality. There's no God in heaven with a big book telling you that you have to do this, you have to do that, and if you didn't, you sinned, then you're going to hell. And there's no damnation. There's no judgment. We can throw all these ideas out. Lay them aside. I am safe today. I am safe today. I am safe today. Because there is no will but God's. When I know that this whole universe is an ordered unfoldment, then what is there to be afraid of? I can become afraid only. When can I become afraid? Only when what happens? When I believe there is another will other than God's. Because if God is love, and love created me like itself, that would mean that everything is for me for love. Everything for me is for love. So why would I be afraid of love? The only thing I can be afraid of is when I believe, there's a devil and a God. Something's coming to get me. I better attack, or I better get ready for an attack. I try to attack only when I'm afraid. When you're in the love, you're not attacking anyone. And only when I try to attack can I believe that my eternal safety is threatened. When we attack, we actually have slipped into the belief that our eternal safety is somehow being threatened, which it never is. Today, I will recognize that all this has not occurred. Today is the day that I come home to myself and recognize, to again know that I made this all up in my big, wonderful, big fat head. I will recognize that all this has not occurred. I will recognize that I haven't been attacked and no one's attacking me right now. I'll put down my defenses. I'll lay down my guard. I won't become afraid. I won't think there's another will. I won't think there's something else going on in the universe other than love. I'm safe because there is no will but God's. These are some useful forms of this idea for specific applications. Here we go. If something specific comes up, let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. We can write these out in our journal so that when something arises, we can perceive it rightly. Let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. It is God's will. You are his son, name, and mine as well. Now we are joining God's will with the person who supposedly traversed our person and did some kind of attack. And we can join with our will, and we know all is one. All is one, which means all is well. Wholeness pervades consciousness. This is part of God's will for me, however I may see it. I may be looking at it strangely and making up a story about it, and I acknowledge there is another way for me to look at it. There is a way for me to look at it as the will of God. There is a way for me to look at it and see love. If I choose. Now, Did everyone hear that in the clubhouse room?
Yes.
Thank God. OMG. Sometimes we get a little bit of a challenge first thing in the morning, which I absolutely love. Okay, I want to hear from family. What did you see last night with the slap that was heard around the world? I went to bed with it. Me and Robert was in this room last night. I was up until midnight. Me and Robert talking like, OMG, what is happening right now? My kids were going ballistic. Okay, I gotta hear about the slap. Come up on stage and talk to us about the slap. I gotta hear it. Because we saw some grievances play out last night. Come on, talk to us.
I wasn't watching live. My brother had text like, "Did you just see that slap?" And I'm like, "No." So he sends me the clip, and I'm like, "Oh, that looked fake or staged. It didn't look real to me." He's like, "No, it was real." So then he sends me another video where it was uncensored, and Will sat back down in his seat and started saying, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's real." However, that wasn't from that joke. That was a lot of built-up anger with something else. So whatever the grievance was, I don't know him personally, but I don't feel as though it was from that little joke. That might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back. However, I feel as though it was some sort of build-up. Might not even have been Chris Rock. That might have just been the person that caused the pot to boil over. I don't know. As far as Will Smith, I feel like I heard a lot of things about Chris Rock. Basically, should have hit him back, and I'm like, no, I felt as though Chris Rock handled it gracefully. I was really surprised that Will took it there, but it just seemed like a lot of hurt that he released that probably didn't have a lot to do with the moment. That was how I saw it.
Okay, so someone on YouTube is asking, who's heard I'ma Stay Live, who got slapped? So let's just let everyone know what we're referring to. So last night on the 94th Oscars, Chris Rock from stage hosting the Oscars made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's bald head. And the joke was alluding to Demi Moore in G.I. Jane. And Demi Moore had a shaved bald head. And so he was making a joke. He was making light of Jada Pinkett Smith's bald head. Now, many people may or may not know that Jada Pinkett Smith came out and said that she had an issue with alopecia. And as of last year, I believe in the summer of 2021, she shaved her head. So Will Smith, sitting next to his wife registered disapproval on her face. I looked at this video from the clips are all over the internet. They're all over the internet. And so I looked at her face, and what registered across her face was, of course, upset, pain, whatever the case may be, maybe shock. And Will Smith got up out of his seat. This was not an ordinary seating of the Oscars like they would normally be in like the Chinese theater downtown in LA. It was not a theater style seating. It was more like a Golden Globe style seating where they were at tables, probably because of social distancing or whatever. They didn't want to have everybody all smashed together. Well, he got up out of his seat, walked to the stage, and slapped Chris Rock in the face, and then went back to his seat. He walked up, he slapped him, and he sat back down. And Chris Rock was like, did Will Smith just slap me? And Will Smith was not done when he sat back down. When he sat back down, he said, keep my wife's name out of your motherfucking mouth. And Chris Rock said something like, what? And Will Smith yelled it again from his seat. Keep my wife's motherfucking name out your MFing mouth. And then he shut it down. And everyone was like, ooh, like they have memes all over the internet of everyone's faces, like Lupita's eyes, everybody in the room, their eyes was like, what? So it was a memorable 94th Academy Awards. And I do want to say up top, congrats, Will Smith, on winning an Oscar for King Richard. It's his first Oscar. So congratulations, Will Smith, on winning your Oscar. Who saw grievances? Who saw, and please, we're not here to say whether Will Smith is right or wrong. People do what they do. Everyone is a human. Everyone, I don't know why people have people on pedestals. Where I come from in Harlem, you talk about somebody's wife or somebody's mama, you will be getting some consequences. Now, not saying that Chris Rock is right or wrong, not saying Will Smith is right or wrong. I'm a minister. I don't think nobody's right or wrong. I feel, sense, intuit that we are watching something unfold that is for the growth of all of us. What are we learning from it? So don't pass judgment on Chris or Will Smith. That's not what we do, especially in A Course in Miracles. We're applying the Course in Miracles. We're applying the course to what we're seeing. All right, talk to us, family.
God morning.
God morning. D is calling it the slap recap. Okay, continue.
Yes, I remember. I mean, like last night, it was definitely like a quick surreal moment. I was like, whoa! Like I saw it on IG. Somebody had posted it, and I'm just looking. And when I watched it, I said, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "No, that was real. That was real." I just felt it, the way how he looked, like towards the end, and it was just like a really like time still moment, because it was just something that like I've never seen. I don't think anybody saw that before. And for me, I just saw hurt. Like that's what I felt coming from me. So I'm sure I got hurt within myself, but that's the look that I saw. I recognized that within myself when I saw him sitting down and telling him to keep her name out his mouth. So I saw myself of like for me, I like the seriousness and the hurt from it when I watched the IG clip. So that's how I felt like on my end.
So what we're seeing here is we're seeing hurt and what can play out if we don't address the hurt within ourselves. Also, we're seeing a trigger that, when you really get in there and you trigger a person to a certain place. I'm not an advocate for violence of any kind. I'm never an advocate for anyone putting anyone's hands on anyone. What I do know is that we are all human and everyone has gotten triggered before. Now, whether you slap someone with your hand or you slap them with your words, I haven't slapped people with my hands, but Lord, have I slapped people with my words, because my tongue will go off. So we all have trigger points. So let us not think that Will Smith or anyone is immune to the lessons of A Course in Miracles. No one's immune, and the game is always on. Did you see that it was game on?
I feel it, yes. I do feel as though it was game on, and pressure does bust pipes. So like a lot of things when gone unaddressed will come out looking like a slap on live national television. And when I thought about it, and I was just thinking about Will and Jada, and it was like, well, I'm sure he took a lot of flack from the entanglement issue last year when him and his wife were on the red table, and and she was talking about her entanglement with another man, a man the same age as their oldest son. So I'm sure he heard a lot about that as in regards to Jada. And from my perspective, it just looked like it was an outpouring of all of what happened within the last year. And Chris Rock just happened to be the person who got the brunt of it. Definitely made the Oscars a memorable night. Everybody was like, well, the Oscars have gotten so boring, and he spiced it up. But definitely, you can tell. I'm like, oh, okay, is that what a grievance looks like? Is that what many grievances look like unaddressed? So definitely was a grievance. Definitely was hurt. As somebody who used to be bullied a lot. And like I had shared with you that story the other day when I had been bullied for 10, 12 years. And then it was this one day, this one bully, she got it for every single bully. And then I was never bullied again. So from my perspective, that's what that looked like for me. It looked like, okay, a lot of people said a lot of shit. You're the last person that's going to say something. And I'm sure nobody, well, a lot of people might have something to say about it now, but probably they will go about it in a different manner.
It was fascinating what his son said. Jaden tweeted, and that is how we do it. I was like, oh, okay. Will Smith was a hero in his house last night. And whether you think he should have done it, shouldn't have done it, should or shouldn't is a judgment. Either way, because I was in the room for several hours. For maybe a couple of hours, I was in the room and I was on stage and I was speaking and sharing, and a lot of people were speaking on stage, and some were saying, oh, it's never acceptable to resort to violence. That is true. It's not acceptable. Yet, how many people resort to violence every single day, and how many times do we resort to violence in our own mind? How many times have you slapped yourself? Is that okay? That's violence. It's self-violence. It's not okay. See, this played out on a world stage, and understand that your mind is playing out within yourself. What's the difference? Okay, continue.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to add a documentary on YouTube and Facebook available that Jada made about a month ago, where she breaks down at her round table. She talks about the extreme, horrific thing that she went through. She lost hair. People think that she shaved her head. She actually suffers from alopecia, and she lost her hair. And she makes a whole documentary about how devastating it was to her personality and her spiritual journey and everything. So I don't think a lot of people are aware that the documentary was made, or that she tells about what actually happened to her hair. It was not a fashion statement. I think that Will is over all the ridicule about his wife, because people are just speaking out of text and not really understanding what the issue is. I think that's what triggered him. I don't agree with the way he did, but I'm from Brooklyn and New York. And if you took a man here in public, you will get looked. It may not be the right thing to do, but I praise him to side to rescue her integrity. It could have been done in a better way, but I definitely can understand why he felt the need to do it.
Yes, in the room last night, we were actually discussing that was a big part of the experience, is that Jada openly spoke about the hair, that she was not simply shaving her head bald. Family, let's be honest. If your next door neighbor shaved their head bald, Shantae shaved her head bald, we completely celebrated her. It wasn't an international incident. So family, please understand that it's an international incident because of who we're talking about. Because people do this every day. People slap people every day. Every day. So do not think, and it's what happens in the moment. Do not think that somehow, because a person made a lot of movies or made a lot of money, that they are somehow immune to the lessons of A Course in Miracles. And we can see it play out, and we can see how the Course is showing us how to be. And it's an evolution. It's an evolution. I love both Chris and Will. That's why I put that on my Instagram last night. If you tap my profile and you go to my Instagram, give a follow. Come on, let's engage. Let's connect on Instagram. Let's connect here in Clubhouse. I love Will and Chris, and I understand we're humans, we're fathers, we're mothers, we have feelings, and you can provoke and provoke and provoke and provoke. And we don't know what's going on with Will Smith. We don't know the pressure he's under. We don't know what goes on inside their home. We don't know the relationship between him and Chris Rock. We don't know, someone brought up in the room last night that Chris Rock made a comment before about Jada years ago in 2016 or something like that. So they dredged up the past. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people who reported on that, went looking for, this happened before. So it's a multi-dimensional issue. I was also in the room, Miriam, last night, and someone said that too, that comedians tell jokes and it was mild compared to most. Chris handled it well. I do not believe if it was Dave Chappelle or a white comedian that would have taken place. Right, I'm just saying. And that's an interesting perspective also that was brought up in the room last night. And what was brought up in the room last night is that comedians tell jokes. That's what they do. And that is true. And we would never want to censor any comedian. I'm not for censoring anyone. And understand that whatever you say has consequences. And you don't get to choose what the consequences are. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm saying everything we do, let's make this conversation lawful in an alignment with the course. The course is giving us the opportunity in real time to see what we've been talking about every day for 87 days. Don't slip back into your December 31st, 2021 mind, family. We've been in A Course in Miracles for 87 days. We know exactly what this is. We know exactly what this is. It was a grievance, it was an attack, and it laid it all out in A Course in Miracles. And it was not a one-way attack. It was an attack of several parties. Okay? So yeah, comedians got jokes. Comedians got jokes. We know comedians got jokes. The key is this. You can say anything you want. You can do anything you want. Be prepared for the consequences. And I, like Journey, I'm from Harlem. If you walked up to any man and you said something about their bald-headed mama, you will catch a beat down. And it's not even that the person is thinking, I need to beat you down. It's because it's so sensitive and so visceral that you just get a reaction. And what I'm saying is, you may not react because someone was talking about your wife or your mother, but let us not sit here and be holier than thou and think we don't have triggers. Maybe your trigger is your kids. Maybe your trigger is, you have a weight. And somebody come up and call you fat, you're going to have a reaction. It may not be a violent reaction against that person. It could be a violent reaction against yourself, where you go within with depression, and depression is nothing but violence, anger turned inward. Continue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yep, you got the mic.
Okay, thank you. So I woke up this morning to this spectacle. I ceased to watch these things maybe at least 10 years now, any of these award shows, because they're just ridiculous to me personally. But I saw this because when I looked at my notification, there were like 4 or 5 people I follow or subscribe to who were making comments, making videos, and so what this brought into me, and I watched it, I saw it. What I observed was when, first of all, when I used to watch these shows, the Oscar shows, what I remember, they always had comedians who were a little raw, who were a little rough, and they were always, all of them have always been prone to saying something a little bit provocative. And people have always handled it. And it was to be expected. So first of all, I didn't see anything weird about what Chris Rock said. I think that, everybody's fair game, just part of what we say about if you're in the public first, there's all that. But then when he said it and the camera was looking at Will Smith, he was cracking up. He thought it was funny as hell.
He didn't crack up. He didn't think it was funny as hell. He was laughing. Not every laughter denotes that you think it is funny. So we can't say what was going on inside of Will Smith. We can only say what we observed. Yet people can see me laughing, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. Just saying. It's another way to look at it. Yeah.
I agree. So that's what I observed. He looked to be laughing and thinking it as part of everyone else was laughing. And then the camera sort of panned to Jada, and she was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went back to Chris. So we couldn't see the interchange between the husband and wife. And then we all saw the slap and all of that, and then him cussing him out from the audience. And what it said to me was, first of all, why are we all, I have so many grievances about that, about how we give our attention to these things as if they matter to our lives. Yes, we can use it as an illustration, but I mean, the fact that we somehow we have in our psyche, I think, this is our royalty, Hollywood, this is our royalty, and especially as Black people, because we're all proud of Chris Rock, we're all proud of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and all of them. And so we feel some kind of way, but it's also informative in my way of thinking that why are we even giving our attention to these? Because we're not living our lives to the degree that we're doing that. So I looked at it more or less than not who's right and who's wrong. I did note that when they came back, they showed that Will Smith seemed to be, what's that word? He seemed to feel sorry for what he had done and apologized to the, the Academy and his fellow nominees, but not to Chris Rock. And for me, that was telling. So, and then he related it to his role in King Richard, which I thought was clever. So for me, the whole thing is just standing back. Maybe I'm not involved in it, but I'm just looking at two human beings, as you said, Kaisi, who are, in their whole humanity. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's worth taking sides. I think it's worth us asking, like you did, where are our grievances, but also why are we even, involved in other people's lives by giving our attention to this, even if it's Will Smith or if it's, what's her name, Angelina Jolie. It wouldn't really matter, in my opinion. The whole thing is wasteless. So that's just all I wanted to say. Thank you very much. And done.
Thank you for that. And family, why are we talking about it on A Course in Miracles? Because this is exactly what the Course in Miracles talks about every day. This is what we have been talking about every day. Every day, every day. You have got to be able to see it in front of you. Yes, and connect the dots. Like, oh, here's a grievance. Oh, there's a grievance. Oh, there's an attack. Oh, there's a belief that I was attacked. This is you. You're looking at you. This is the opportunity. The Course gave us the perfect opportunity to look at something, understand it, and apply it to self so that you don't have to experience it. It's like Will Smith and Chris Rock took one for the team. They played out a drama that if you look at it and understand what you're looking at and look at all aspects of it as Spirit is guiding you to do, you won't have to live it. It's a lesson. All things are lessons God would have me learn. What are the lessons here? That's what I'm looking at. So I never lived that shit out.
I just started laughter. I'm like, you should have paused, breathed, and went with that.
I'm going to send them Dark Night of the Soul. I'm going to send them that series. Dark Night of the Soul, No Excuses Manifest. So yeah, the first 3 steps is pause, breathe, go, then PBG. Because you get triggered. Who here has never gotten triggered? And maybe you don't slap somebody.
He had to think about his mama. He's like, Dad, my mama watching this pretty much is what he said. So I definitely feel Will because I get triggered and I go ziggity boo, pop goes the way I'm like, damn, I didn't pause, breathe, or go to sleep. And look what happened.
They said Mike Lowry came out last night.
Mike Lowry.
That's right. Good morning, fam.
Good morning. Let's hear from a brother. Come on.
There were so many levels that I saw and felt energetically. So I'm going to start by saying that was Robert and I have grievances.
Okay. Me too. That was Valerie and I have grievances and I will slap a hole. Oh, okay. I'm seeing myself.
Let me tell you now, thank God for the course, and that's why I'm here. Because it is so easy to sit at home and make a judgment about what someone should do and should not do. I'm in this course, but let me tell you something. If you come to me, a man to a man, what is missing, I believe, is as a man, I'll just say it this way, as a man, there is a protector in us. Now, when I say this, ladies, I'm not saying every man. You have to know which man. It's odd also that this played out because it's showing the lies we have in community. I've seen nothing for 2 years but Black women, many, not all, say that Black men are not there for them. And the one time he stood up, now all of a sudden, what he should or shouldn't have done. In that moment, I would have did the same damn thing and dare him to hit me back. Oscars be damned. When you flip, when you're protected, it's not about where you are and what everyone thinks. At that moment, I'm speaking as a man, as a protector of Black women, of queens. It's on. And what I felt with Will was that he was willing to deal with any consequence that came after. Yes, in hindsight, you can say at that moment, oh, I may not have done it. But this grown man made a choice. Chris made a choice. To me, what I saw was Chris took it because he realized, oh shit, something here, I overstepped. Those two grown men had an interaction in front of us, which if we listen and believe the reports after, they hashed it out afterwards. And Chris said, no, I'm not going to bring up charges. That's two men dealing with it. There was a protector and another man that said, oh, my bad, I overstepped. I'm only speaking as a protector of queen and Black women. That's a whole nother level that may be missed here. And this is no judgment on right or wrong. But to sit at home in your lovely space and say what you saw on TV because it was at the Oscars and he shouldn't have. No, in that moment, if that's what Will did, that's what Will did. He stood up for his woman. You're not going to do that. And as a man, energetically, I'm speaking of me, my man. Any of you in here, if that had been the case and I have that connection, Robert would have did it. Okay, I'm done.
Robert, do you know how many men have asked me that are in my life, do I need to get my Timbs? I can call probably about 4 or 5 men right now. If I had an issue, they would go handle it. It would not be a problem. And Wiz is number 1 on the list. He will fight in a second. He will put on some. Do I need to get my Timbs? Like, there, we cannot.
I'll go through with my grievances and my cause. But at that moment, in protective mode, it's different. I'm not condoning. What I'm trying to say is we can't make a judgment sitting at home. Like we said, we don't know what had built up in Will. We don't know as a couple. You know, that it could be worse than what they're saying. Well, like, he was protecting something. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, I don't see any judgment in that. Those two grown, and back to now I'm pulling out of that. We watched it. Those two grown men had an interaction and they squashed it. And everybody else still judging whatever. Because it was at the Oscars. Because it could have been anyone. If we take out color and all of these things, it could have been anyone. What I saw was protection of his queen.
Some of the comments on YouTube, come on, Robert. They were going on Robert. Come on, Robert, preach, brother. And then Miriam asked, what was Will protecting? Good question. Journey stood up for his queen, Soul Whisperer. I think her feelings, Miriam. Soul Whisperer, I have many thoughts about that. Ali, love TV, protect us from real stuff. That's ridiculous. Laugh it off and keep it moving. A bald head, question mark, OMG, get over yourselves. Journey, I'm not condoning, but damn, I'm understanding. My thoughts too, Ali Love, Soul Whisperer says, Barb, he wouldn't put his hands on anyone else. Rena says, Ali, she has a hair disease. She cannot get over it. So I understand, hey, family, there's no right or wrong. This is not an argument. What Don't look at Jada or Will or Chris. Look at yourself. What are you seeing? We study a course in miracles every day. And doesn't every day the course say, if you get temptation today, because something might happen today. If Will had been with us on A Course in Miracles that morning, maybe things would have been different. And if Chris Rock had been on with us on A Course in Miracles, maybe it would have been different. Maybe I don't need to be attacking people with my words. Maybe I don't need to be attacking people with my hands. Maybe we don't need to be attacking anyone for anything. Maybe. I'm going to say another aspect of this that I didn't hear last night in the room. Comedians pick who to joke. They joke everybody. And they also know that if they joke the biggest targets in the room, they know that they're going to get some laughs. And comedians got to get laughs, and Chris Rock got to get laughs. And they will get laughs at anyone's expense. That's one of the things I love about comedy, is that comedy is no holds barred. They go where no one else will go. And good, no problem. Go where anyone else will go, where no one else will go. Say the things that no one else will say. And like Dave Chappelle, whom I highly respect, be prepared to deal with do you think you're going to dish and nothing come back? That's not lawful. Let's look at it lawfully. Whatever you give, you receive. And you cannot choose how it comes back to you. So, yeah, you can dish, you can joke everybody's mama. You can joke everything you want to joke. You can joke somebody's kid was born with something, you can joke them. You can joke everything. And be like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle handled the backlash from talking about trans people. Dave Chappelle talked about trans people. Why? Because it was funny. And trans people are like all people. We all get joked on. I'm a Black woman. I think Black women get joked on a whole lot. Yo, my Black mama, she beat me. They always joking on Black women. Always. So trans, welcome to the party, being joked on. It means we love you. If people ignore you and don't joke you, where I grew up in the hood with a bunch of Black dudes, they joked everybody. I mean, your feelings would be like this and they joked you, right? That's not the point. It's not about jokes. It's about law. What you give, you receive. Karma, law of cause and effect. When Dave Chappelle joked trans people and Dave Chappelle, he got flack for joking trans people before. And in his new one, that's really funny, it's really good, his latest one, he joked trans people some more. And that man was so masterful in how he joked trans people. He joked those trans people so masterfully from the perspective of having a trans friend who committed suicide. He has a trans friend and he's friends with the family. And he actually, he didn't say this, but the family said, Steve, Dave Chappelle has helped our family a lot financially and so forth. After he said it in his whole, he said it in his monologue. He said, she was my friend. And I could feel that. She was my friend. And everyone jokes their friends. We're not talking about jokes. We're talking about law. There is a consequence to everything you do and say. You cannot escape the consequences. So you can put it out there. You don't know what your consequence is going to be. The other thing about Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle was ready for the consequences. You assume, that's part of assuming responsibility, right? Yeah, I can say anything about anybody at any time. I can walk up to somebody right now on the street and say, you ugly and your feet stink. Okay, well, be prepared for whatever happens after that. You can say anything you want to anybody at any time and be prepared. Now, here's the deal. When Dave Chappelle dealt with, he got backlash, of course, right? Oh, Netflix should shut him down. It was a vocal few. It was, I think only about 1,000 people that were vocally protesting it and millions of people that watched it. So, there you have it. The key is this: he was prepared to deal with the consequences. Dave Chappelle said, I'll have a meeting with you, and only after you watch it, and we'll hash it out, we'll talk it out. And that's what the dudes did afterwards. And I applaud Chris Rock for not going to the law. I applaud that. And I don't know what Chris Rock is thinking. I don't know if Chris Rock is like, my bad. Oh, hey, it's jokes. He probably joked about the joke. I don't know. Chris Rock is very jokey. Will Smith is jokey also, very jokey. So in a heated moment, not one of us in this entire experience can say we know what we would do in a heated moment. And if you say that, it is pomposity and arrogance. Not one of us know what we would do in that situation. Not one of us. You can say it. And then look at your life. Have you ever been triggered? Have you ever reacted? Have you ever had to apologize? You know what? I was out of pocket. Pardon me. Have you ever blown up? These are human experiences. Don't think successful people aren't humans. Grace, where's your grace? Where's your forgiveness? Isn't that what we talk about every day? Where's your forgiveness? Where's your seeing everyone as divinity? Where's your dropping your perceptions? Family, this is the perfect opportunity. This is the perfect opportunity to apply everything you learned in the course. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what anything is for. But no, where are we going? We're going to our opinions. Shows that 87 days, we still haven't got it. That's why we need a review. Continue. We're going to our opinions. Why are we in any opinions when the truth is getting given to us every day? And we say, oh, this is so good, this is so good, this is so good. But no, he shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have done that. I don't like that. I don't like how they do that. Look how quickly we revert to our beliefs and opinions. I ain't got no beliefs and opinions about it. I have some observations. I got a lot of lessons. Where am I attacking and where am I slapping? Where am I having an issue and where am I? How am I Chris? How am I Will? And how am I Jada? How am I all these people? Because you're all these people. If you don't get that, you missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. Go, and you know what you want to do? You want to turn off all your TVs, turn off everything that you have, and put A Course in Miracles on and go from day 1 again all the way up to day 87. Continue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. I saw it after the whole situation happened, but I feel his acceptance speech has a very eye-opening reason behind why he did what he did. He talked about King Richard, or the Williams father, and he talked about how he would stand up and protect. He was supposed to do. He protect his kids, he protect his family. So I wonder if Will Smith himself felt like, through all the experience of maybe the last couple of years, that he himself didn't feel like he was able to stand up and protect his family, his wife. And so it came out in this way. Like you said, maybe he just had enough. But I wonder if him getting into this character, King Richard, made him feel like he was lacking in some way, and so he had to prove that.
That is very profound. That's a profound insight. LaToya, can you say that last part again?
I said that I wonder if Will Smith felt like in some way he was lacking in his own character by playing King Richard, seeing how he protected his children and his family. And maybe he himself feels like he hasn't stepped up enough. And so his response was this action based on his experience of playing this character and maybe finding lack in himself. And so he had to express that, no, I don't have that lack. See, I can do this. And maybe that's what happened. I'm complete.
That's a very profound insight, because it is possible that if I see, once again, I'm applying it to myself. I'm Will, I'm Chris, I'm Jada. You're all of them. You're all of them. And if you think this is another, we are back in the only problem there is, and that is separation. I'm not separated from Will. I am not separated from Chris. I am not separated from Jada. We are one. I'm not separated from anyone in those Oscars. So what aspect of my consciousness is Chris? What aspects? Let's have an elevated conversation. This is a spiritual channel, and we're about spirituality. So we shouldn't be having should is a judgment. Thank you, Spirit. Let me clean myself up. We're not going to have the conversation down here where he was right and she was wrong and they did it. He shouldn't have done that. And that's what happens. And the Oscars do this and comedians do this. And that's one level of conversation. Elevate, as you heard LaToya said, what are the issues going on here? Perhaps I have an inadequacy. We don't know. We can't speak for Will. I can only speak for myself. Perhaps I see something in someone that I just played. Right? He just got into that character. And to tell you the truth, I think he still was channeling him when he did the slap, right? And he saw how that man, he said it in the acceptance speech, and he was just tears, just flow. This was a supercharged, super emotional experience. This man, the tears were streaming if you look at the acceptance speech for playing King Richard, the father of Venus and Serena, who everyone knows that man was super intense. You cannot create a Serena and a Venus without being super intense. That man had them in the sun in California playing. You know, I remember when they were coming up, they used to talk about him. They used to say he was an abuser, that he had the girls out playing tennis in the summertime, in the hot sun for hours, and that was mean. That they used to talk about this man. Now, I didn't see the movie. Once again, here came our judgments about someone we don't even know. How are we going to judge Chris, Will, or Jada? We don't know them. So all you can do is apply the lessons to self. I don't know them. I know what I'm experiencing, and let me apply it from within myself. That's a very profound. I didn't hear that at all last night in a couple of hours of discussion of this. Different people had different ways of looking at it. This is a spiritual exercise. This is not about Will or Jada or Pink or comedians or Chris or the Oscars. It's not about any of those things. Let us have an elevated conversation about law and ACIM. Continue.
Good morning, everybody. So I see Will Smith as my shadow self last night. There's aspects of me that really want to let aggression out still. And I know it is not in accordance with Course in Miracles. I'm fully aware that it's giving into temptation and attack thoughts. However, there are a lot of people who have a lot of pent-up anger. I don't know if this was just pent-up anger or just a quick moment of letting go that Will had. I just first heard about it from you guys, and I watched the clip of Will. So I don't have the full picture as you guys, but I thought that was very crazy. I almost thought it was fake too, like Harmony said. And I want to add about what you said about the role of King Richard. Like, I could imagine that there's a very intense guy, like probably giving like Joe Jackson. Because when you do go into those method acting, sometimes you do get lost in the role unless you're able to like channel it out of yourself.
You're absolutely right. And you know, it's very easy for us to say that we don't have aggression. How aggressive are you with your thoughts and within yourself for yourself? Do you have inner thugs and bullies? If you say, oh, that's unacceptable for Will Smith to act that way, examine your shadow, because that would be a projection. That is exactly what the Course is talking about. You see it outside yourself. That is a perception coming from inside the mind. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's not about what people should or shouldn't do. People slap people every day. I bet you there's people right now slapping their kids. Is that acceptable? No, it's not. Last night I had a profound moment of forgiveness. I went into forgiveness for every slap, every spanking that I've ever given my two older children. I knew by the time I had my third child, I was not going to do that. We have slapped children and thought nothing of it. We have beaten children and thought nothing of it. I have. I cannot say I'm not an aggressor. I am an aggressor. And that's what I got to intuit deeper into my shadow last night. This is shadow work, family. How am I standing in Chris Rock's shoes? How am I standing in Will's shoes? How am I standing in Jada's shoes? Continue.
I just want to say that if you follow Will and Jada, you don't have to agree with their lifestyles, but Will is someone that is doing the work. Yeah. This man has made serious about doing the work. He's cried and talked about things, not dealing with the situation, but just spiritual life. And so that's a reflection of me, like I said before, because here we are learning this. And I'll tell you straight up, all three of them with me. That's what I said. And just to make light of it, how dare I carry on like that, and then I'm still the audience that was shocked this far. You see Lupia's eyes, The Rock, everybody. So I'm carrying on, and then I'm shocked at my own behavior. But that even in knowing Will on his spiritual journey, that's still a reflection of me. Here we are every single day in grievances, because that was me. I'm just agreeing with what you said. Chris Rock, Will, and Jada, that was me. And that's the way I took it. I didn't have time for judgment. Immediately when I saw it, I felt it. And so, that was me. Mm-hmm. Working on the course. That's why I came back this morning. I was ready. I'm like, yep, because I'm going to hear about myself.
Didn't this morning's lesson, okay, let's apply this morning's lesson to it. Let's go straight into 787. And let's look at it from the slap. I will there be light. I will use the power of my will today. Okay, let's look at, if something comes up, this is what you do. This cannot hide the light I will to see. Can you imagine that will is actually in the course? Will. This cannot hide the light. Look at it. It's right there. I didn't even see it before.
Look at that.
I didn't see it. How can Chris say, you stand with me in the light, Will and Jada? How can Will say, you stand with me in the light, Chris? How can Jada say, Will says, you stand with me in the light, Chris and Jada? Jada says, you stand with me in the light, Chris and Will. In the light, this will look different. In the light, this will look different. That simple statement of truth. In the light, this will look different. When I get an insult, what do I do? If you think that this is coming before you and you are not them, I'm going to tell you again, examine yourself, check yourself before you wreck yourself. The course is giving us this learning lesson not to comment from your comfy, cushy home, and we don't know the pressures of anyone on what they should and shouldn't do. We're not here to offer commentary on what other people should or shouldn't do. What are the lessons? Continue.
Am I next?
I don't know, mods.
Yes, Angel. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I went to bed early, so I didn't hear about any of this until class, so I kind of peeked over real quick and saw it. And I definitely saw myself in all three. I saw myself in Chris Rock because I'm one of those people whose mouth get me in trouble all the time. Even as a kid, I remember my mama used to smack me for my mouth, and then as an adult, I smack me sometimes for my mouth. So I saw myself.
Girl, wait a minute. Pause for a second. That was so me when I was growing up. Oh my God. I would say something, my mama would back slap me across the mouth. Okay, continue.
Real quick,
yes.
Real hard. And I felt it like when Will did that smack and Chris Rock's whole body shook. It was like, I felt like I was either in church or in the back seat when my mama smacked the shit out of me. But like taking it and deeper, I smacked me. Sometimes
Ooh,
when I feel like my mouth has said something it shouldn't have said, and I'm like, fuck, why did you say that? Or why did you say that like that? And then I saw myself in Jada in several ways. Like the look on her face was, I didn't necessarily see hurt. I saw, no, the fuck he did not. And he know that I got alopecia. And it's like, I felt in myself, like for instance, when So Whisper said that, when you're in that life, I think that was her that says, like, you're in front of everyone. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't include me when I'm in this situation. Like, yeah, I know I'm an actor or actress and everybody knows my life and I'm on the front page, but when it comes to me in this situation, the rules don't apply this time because he plays too much. So I definitely saw myself in all three. And I was crazy, but I really did see myself in all three. And it reminded me like to continue to watch my mouth and how it affects people and how it affects me, and to quit smacking myself when I say something that I feel like I might not should have said. Just roll with it. Okay, I said it, oops, and not to smack myself anymore. So I'm complete.
Ooh, that is powerful. My mama used to slap the mess out of us. And it was very interesting that it was a slap, not a punch. And it was a slap in the face, like shut your mouth. It was very fascinating. I love watching human drama because I'm looking at what am I seeing here? What am I seeing, Holy Spirit? It wasn't a punch. It wasn't a shove or a push. It was walk up, slap, and walk back to your seat. It was very fascinating. This whole thing is extremely fascinating to me. It was almost like back in the day when when an insulted duke would take his glove and slap another duke. Did anybody get that sense? That's kind of what I was feeling. I was like, this is how royalty handles things. Like it was like a duke and a duke, like one powerful person to another powerful person. It's like a duke throwing down his sword in front of another duke. We're dueling. Family, men have been doing this forever. Men have been dueling forever. Wow. Continue.
I was told, my mama would tell me all the time, I will smack the taste right out your mouth.
Child,
That's what happened. I think that might have been why I wasn't smacked. You say something smart, I will smack the taste out your mouth. Oh, is that what that looks like? Got it.
And then the look on Chris Rock's face, like after he smacked it, it was like that.
Oh man, it was just a G.I. Jane joke. Like it was like it. I felt like he knew what that slap was for, but it was like it was just a joke. Like I didn't mean it like that, but I feel like it was deeper than that.
I think the social media apps are acting wonky because the internet is getting broke from the slap heard around the world. I think the internet can't even handle like all the memes. Did y'all see the memes? I was like, when do people
say something, Rev?
Yes, talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't own a TV, so I didn't watch any of that. What had happened was my son was on the computer, and it was like these little kids are now Googling who's Will Smith, who's Chris Rock, and we were in there like, you don't know who Chris Rock is? No, and his whole crew, they're Googling, they're like, who's this guy? And I thought that was really interesting that all these people now are going to know who Will Smith and Chris Rock are from this night. And I'm not sure. I saw the clips on Facebook or wherever they had them. And I was like, was this real or was this staged or, whatever it was quite interesting. And I cannot wait to see if they broke the internet or, what's going to happen next. I love Chris Rock, and I love Will Smith, and I love Jada. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like, I know I'm supposed to look at this from, law and lesson perspective, but I'm still staring at it because I really don't understand anything what's going on. I don't understand anything. I mean, my parents never spanked me, so I don't know what that is about. And the chivalry and all of this, and why didn't he smack August? I don't know. I mean, there was so many questions. So I'm waiting and watching, and I have no idea. I do know my son now knows who Chris Rock is. You know, I think he knew who Will Smith was. So now these little kids are really getting up on their stuff now. So I'm waiting and watching. I'm complete.
You know, violence is not only physical. Family, violence is not only physical. There's emotional violence. There's word violence. You cannot receive what you didn't earn. You can't. That's law. Whatever you get means you gave it. There are no victims and perpetrators. Isn't that what we study every morning in the course? Well, clearly we don't understand it, because that's why we're in this great big lesson for the whole world. Because we've been studying the course and it sounds so nice. Yeah, love everyone. Yeah, no such thing as attack. Yeah, love created me like itself. Yeah, that's lovely. Then when you see this, you're like, oh, they should have done, boo, boo. Come home to your divine self. God didn't judge either one of them. God didn't see that anyone did anything wrong. I love that Robert said, right? Either we've dished out violence or we receive violence. And if we received it, that means we dished it out. The law says you cannot receive something you did not put out. Karma is not random. It's not. Cause and effect. It's a law. So whatever Chris Rock received, we don't know what Chris Rock dished out to get that. Whatever Jada received, we don't know. We're only looking at part of the story. That's why we don't understand. I don't know what anything is for. A Course in Miracles, I think it was lesson 1. And I don't, and I think I see a meaningless world. You could take every one of the 87 lessons we have had up until this time and apply it to this exact situation. And what Holy Spirit is doing is it's putting in front of you so that you can do as Angel did and Robert did and LaToy and look at it and say, how is this me? It's you. If you think this is about some people in Hollywood, you're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. I love how Robert said, not only am I the 3 of them, I'm Chris, I'm Will, I'm Jada. He said, I'm also the audience. I'm the Rock sitting in the audience shocked. Like, did you see the Rock's face? It was so priceless. Like, just looking at everybody's face was like, as a matter of fact, there was a collective gasp when Will sat back down in his seat. He wasn't done yet. He said, keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. And Chris Rock was still like, wait, is that what you just said? Like, huh? And Will said, he said it again. I was like, okay. See, all of that was edited out of some versions. So I'm the person who dishes out something. I'm the person that got hurt by something. So maybe Jada had hurt. Maybe, I don't know Jada. I can't say what Jada was experiencing. I'm saying what I'm perceiving. Understand your perceptions as what you're looking at. Maybe I perceived hurt, I perceived attack, I perceived anger, I perceived grievances. And then I perceived, like Robert said, and I'm the audience too. I'm looking at me doing it. Put your face on all of them. I'm looking at me doing it and I'm shocked. Oh, damn. I'm the joker and I'm the slapper. And I'm the hurt one, and I'm the one looking at the whole thing. That's all happening in your consciousness. Why don't we understand it? Why don't we understand
Dr. Rev, did you mean to mute? Because Dr. Jiva just hopped on stage, and I'm sure she's going to make it all lawful.
Come on, make it lawful. There's no other. Come on, Jiva, how you loving?
Dr. Diwa.
Everybody welcome to the slap that was heard around the world.
The slap heard around the world. Yes.
I saw the news clip before I went to bed last night, and it appears.
G1, could you speak a little louder so YouTube can hear you as well?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
This morning, so my voice is a little. You're the first people I spoke to this morning, so there you go.
Yay, thank you.
So yeah, the European and international feed showed the whole thing. The US feed got edited. They cut the mic and cut the camera and all that stuff. So depending on what version of the slap you see is either international feed or the US feed. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting when someone has lived their life out loud for everybody to see. And so I know that Will knows law. I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he studies A Course in Miracles. I know that for a fact. And I know that his emotional body got the better of him last night.
Yes.
You know, whatever he was going through, whatever he was feeling, that was all emotional body. And the emotional body is the larger of the four bodies, the four lower bodies. And so, you know, we got to witness what it's like to be in your emotions and live and large. You know, I have been told that you want to make a big mess. You want to live a life that you can make a big mess and then clean it up.
Mm.
He's following that dictate. You know, he's making a big mess and he's cleaning it up. I'm sure he's cleaning it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you look at his story, if you know anything about his story, you know, he came in with a father who was an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So he has that in his consciousness. So even though he says he never wanted to be an abuser,
Mm-hmm.
he vowed never to be an abuser because his father was. He chose to do that on national television. You know, so it's the thing that you say that you're never ever going to do.
Mm.
It's the thing you came here to heal.
Mm.
And what better way to heal it than out for everybody to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's all I have to add. I mean, that's all I have to add to it. You know, when I saw it, I thought it was fake too at first. I thought it was staged. I thought it was like a stunt or something like that. But when I saw the international feed and I saw him shouting from his chair after he was sitting, I said, "Oh no, this is not staged at all." So, you know, you're like I've said, and I know Reverend Bell said, your life is your curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
How you live your life is your curriculum. And so, and how you come in through your parents, you choose the people you associate, you choose all these things. So Chris Rock and Jada, his mother, his father, all those people, he chose to have in his experience. And so all of them are being of service to him to heal the thing that he came here to heal, which was abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It was abuse.
You know, Jiwa, this is very profound what you're saying, because I did not even connect that part of the story that he said that he was from an abusive father, and I came here to heal that. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I just keep on thinking that it's interesting, because I'm looking at it impassively. I'm looking at it like I'm looking at a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at the information that it's showing me. So law, the law will not be mocked. And so just like you said, Chris received what he received because he had doled it out somewhere in his soul's existence. Everybody who is witnessing this is witnessing it from the perspective of a receivership based on their experience, their soul's experience. And so if it doesn't activate you, if you can look at it impassively, it doesn't activate you, doesn't stir up something in you, then you know for sure that that's not for yours to heal. It's just you're an observer. But if it activated you, if it caused you to feel a certain way, then you can rest assured that that's your information for you to heal. And so you have to take from it what the activation was. So if you felt anger, if you felt frustration, if you felt sorrow, whatever it is that you experienced when you witnessed it, that is what you are looking to heal. That whatever was activated in you. If you're impassive to it, if it didn't land on your heart in a certain way, and you just saw it as like you were watching a movie, then you know that there's nothing there for you to heal. You're just an observer, just like with all other things. Like you're an observer of the things that are going on. But don't play with it and pretend that you're not activated. I'm going to say that too. Make sure you are getting your lesson so that you can heal them. So here we have someone who's had the opportunity to do something huge on an international stage and heal that. That's very powerful.
Oh, it's so powerful.
Very powerful.
Do you know how big of a soul you would have to be able to have that kind of global teaching lesson, learning lesson in front of millions? Do you know the caliber? We've got Chris Rock's soul, Jada Pinkett's soul, and Will Smith's soul. If we could see them in spirit realms, these are some giant souls that have agreed to play out this drama in front of all of us. Do you know what kind of soul you would have to be to volunteer for something like that?
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah. Right. So I have absolutely no judgment on any of it. I see it as their service project. They conducted a really big service project for everybody. And for those who were activated, do the work, what you need to heal. And for those who just observed it, just said, oh, okay, that's what that looks like. And had no activation at all. It was just another piece of the drama of life played out. So, I don't know what else to say on this other than that. Yeah.
And I notice how quickly we can go to judgment, what people should do, shouldn't do, what I should or shouldn't do, rather than the lessons. What are the lessons for me? And I had a profound lesson last night that I'm abused. I'm an abuser. I'm a slapper. How many times have I slapped my kids? That's not okay. And I'm learning, I need to not dish it, attack, and I need to not react to it. Oh, wow. And I need to not be hurt. This is what was coming to me. I saw clearly I'm all of them. I'm all of them. And as Robert said, we're the audience too, looking like, did you just do that? Oh yeah, I did just slap myself in my mind. Yeah. Let us not be blind to the lessons for self when it's such a huge opportunity to grow from you watching. You could have popcorn and eat and journal it out, and you don't have to walk it out.
Very powerful. Very powerful. So there are no mistakes there. Like you said, there are no victims.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just, we'll see how it all plays out for him and for Chris and for Jada, and then, but also, if it activated you in any kind of way, take that information and utilize it as a healing opportunity. Use it as a healing opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And to be, there's something I remember Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith saying many years ago. And I've told y'all this a few times before, and I'm going to say it again. We were in a ministerial experience, and he welcomed us to a ministerial breakfast. And we were all there in the breakfast, and he said ministers. It was all ministers in the room, which I do regard Will Smith and Chris and Jada and everyone here as ministers. I'm among the ministers of God. Spirit, A Course in Miracles calls all of us ministers. Everyone's a minister of something. So we were in the room, and Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith said something that I have remembered to this day. He said, welcome ministers. This is how he greeted us. He said, welcome ministers, you who have agreed to do your healing publicly. And I said, I'm telling you, Jiwa, something in me wanted to jump up and run out the door. No. I heard it inside myself. I didn't agree to do my healing publicly. No. I wanted to bolt for the door, but of course, Holy Spirit kept me in my seat. And I always remember that. People in the public eye, just like Reverend Dr. Yana Van Sant, when she went through the bankruptcy, she had the wedding, then she had the divorce, she had her daughter passed of cancer. They're doing all of this publicly. You're doing it all too. All of us are doing the same thing. You get the benefit of privacy. They're doing it publicly for who? For us. For all of us.
Yep, they are truly giving. They're truly giving. So.
I actually love it for the opportunity it gives us to look at all the course lessons we have had up until now. Pull out every lesson. And this on day 86, it happened last night on day 86, every course lesson is here if we but look. Every course lesson is here. What are my perceptions? What am I seeing? What am I experiencing? What am I thinking? Am I able to look at my mind and what my mind is saying? Am I in judgment? Am I in upset? Am I in anger? Am I in hurt? What's happening? What's happening? What do I do when I'm triggered?
There's also another layer here that I want to discuss too, that it just came to mind, is that here is a guy who has been chasing Oscar with different projects. He chased it with Ali, he chased it with a couple other projects that could get him nominated and didn't. Finally gets nominated again and is in the top spot to win an Oscar. And on the night of his achievement, he does something that distracts from the achievement.
That was the exact thing I wondered. Is this an act of self-sabotage? And I looked, that's what came up for me. How do I sabotage myself when I get to a peak moment in my life?
Right. Yeah. And so it's his win will always have a bittersweet tinge to it. It will always be paired with his actions prior to him receiving that award. And it may fade over time. However, in his mind, it's still there. And he set that up for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on his information, his setup, what's going on with him, and how he deals with things, or how he views himself, or how he views his achievements. So it's interesting. It's very multi-layered if you take an opportunity to look at it that way. But it's all the same thing. Always going back to, who do I say I am? Who do I say I am? You either be God or a victim. And right, and if you're identifying as God, there's nothing you could say to disturb your peace. There's a poem that my master teacher always refers to. It's entitled "If" by Rudyard Kipling. And the first line of the poem says, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but allow for their doubting too." That's the first couple of stanzas of that line. It just keeps on going on and on about overcoming adversity, or how you view yourself, and so if you haven't read that poem before, just look up "If" by Rudyard Kipling. And every time something happens in my life where I play the victim, I always go back to that poem. I circle back to that poem to see, what it's saying and how to comport myself instead. Because it's one thing to read the course and agree with it, because we all agree with reading on the page, it resonates. And it's an entirely different thing to live the course. So every opportunity is a learning opportunity, and I know for a fact that Will is taking this as a learning opportunity. And I know the people he's surrounded by who are encouraging him to do that and supporting him in doing that. So, yeah.
I hear people say, well, Nicki Minaj can't say this because she's a star and young people look up to her. And Beyonce can't do this because she's a star. And, you're in a global stage. You need to control yourself. And, Will can't do that because he's this and that. No one is exempt. No one. We're all in this together. No human is exempt from the lessons of the third dimension. No one, not Will, not Chris, not Jada, no one. No one's exempt. We're all receiving our lessons from Source. We all are. So we get to be humble, and we get to be loving, and we get to be kind. And we get to be compassionate, and we get to be empathetic. Put yourself in people's shoes. And we don't talk about people that we don't know. We don't know what's going on in any of their lives. So we can't make a commentary on that. We can say, I know what this is for me. I know what my information is from this. Be loving. Be kind. Because you will have your moment. And you will want that compassion. You will have your moments. You'll have many moments. How many moments have I had? I've had many moments. And I wanted kindness and compassion. let us be kind. Let us be compassionate. It doesn't cost you anything. Don't be jaded and cynical and judgmental and judgy. It's so easy to point and say what people should be doing. So easy to look in the mirror and take on the one who is pointing. That is your work. That's all my work is. I don't have anything to say about any of it other than what I see as the lessons for myself. Continue.
May I say something?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. What Dr. G was said about, him self-sabotaging, and what Will himself said, that Denzel Washington told him that when you reach the pinnacle, that's when the devil comes. And based on the Course of Miracles, our thoughts are what creates our hell. So our thoughts is what created the devil to begin with. So he went outside his love, he went outside his source and created a hellish situation. But something that I feel that he learned, and that's why he pulled himself back into his source and spoke about seeing his pain on his face, seeing his tears on his face. I think he realized he did wrong. He went places, his mind went places he didn't feel comfortable with, but expressed itself on that situation at that time. And really, you really have to watch what you think, because what you think has you doing things that you shouldn't be doing, or you yourself feel outside your source in doing. I hope I explained that right. I'm complete.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and something else is coming to me about this as well, that we are all in this experience of transformation. We're all in the earth school. We're all in the school. No one's better than anyone. No one's worse than anyone. Everyone that has a body is in the earth school. So let us not look at someone in their lesson. The only reason we even knew he was in a lesson is because he's a public figure. Otherwise, he could have had his lesson in his house. We would have never known about it. We're all having our lessons. I'm so happy that all my lessons aren't public. And not that all of his lessons are public, they're not. I'm happy that some of my most not glorious moments are not recorded like on everybody's phone. I mean, this is going to live on the internet forever. The memes already started last night. So we're all having these experiences, family. If you think you're exempt, you're not exempt. We're all in the earth school together. The other thing I wanted to say is, how come it's okay for the housewives to have fights all the time, but it ain't, this is different. I don't see it as any different. The housewives be scrapping all the time. And Will is not a scrappy person. He's not. Will is a gentleman, and Will is also highly introspective. And Will is also extremely vulnerable. Like, he's the kind of person that would stand in front of a whole crowd of people and just be crying. He was crying. Like, you do not even see men that let themselves cry in person. And maybe in that moment, maybe he didn't apologize to Chris Rock. I don't know. Everyone's enlightened when it's not you. You're very enlightened when it's not you. Maybe he didn't, apologize to Chris Rock in a moment. He apologized to the Academy. He apologized to, the people in the audience, whatever the case may be. What I can appreciate is that the two of them talked it out. These are not people that are not introspective. We're not talking about a DMX kind of person. DMX, Mama Ia went to see DMX for Y'all to Fix My Life. DMX was strung out on drugs and didn't want to change. DMX was fighting his life lessons. That's why he took himself out. DMX was having, he was having his experiences that he was having. That's not this. Both Chris and Will, we've seen them grow over time. We've seen them with Jada. We've seen them tackle deep, dark issues. We've seen them tackle their shadow. You don't think you have a shadow? Well, then you're not looking. And we don't know what's in that shadow till it comes out. You know, Jordan Peterson said something very profound. He said, if you do not think that you have within your capability to slice someone's throat open or to do any number of heinous things, you are a dangerous person to be around because you have not addressed the shadow and integrated it. If you think that you would never hurt a fly, you're actually a dangerous person to be around because you have not integrated the shadow. These things live in the shadow. And that's why we're doing this work every day. Go into the shadow. Take it on. Take yourself on.
We know what's so interesting now is that my profession as a chiropractor, when I was studying, we were studying how to adjust and all that kind of stuff. And whenever it came to the neck, I would get real nervous. My hands would start shaking in class, practicing how to adjust the neck and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until later, when you were, speaking of, looking at, why am I choosing to be a healer this lifetime? Well, because there was a lifetime, or maybe several lifetimes, where I was not a healer. I was the exact opposite. And so I had to look at, when I really get angry, and I mean, really seething angry, boiling over kind of angry, which doesn't happen often. When it does happen, the first instinct I have is dismemberment.
Ooh, wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Say it loud for the people in the back. Oh my God.
My first instinct is dismemberment. I can feel myself, a part of me, take my hands and rip people's limbs off. That's my first instinct.
Girl,
rip your limbs
Jiwa,
off.
do you think you were a Viking or something like that? Doing that?
I was something like that. I was something that had huge hands that could do that kind of thing.
Wow.
Because I could actually feel that part of me come to the surface when I get that angry. It's pure dismemberment. Not using a tool, not using a knife, not using a gun, using my hands to rip people apart.
Wow.
And so as a chiropractor, it's no accident that I chose chiropractic as a healing profession. I'm using my hands to put people back together.
Wait a minute, because in the other lifetime you used your hand and rip them apart. Oh my God.
Yes. Yes. Yep. I know, right? Who would think?
You can't make this. You can't make this shit
My
up.
mouth is dropped open.
You can't make this shit up.
I had to go pick my mouth up. Love it. I was like, wait, what?
We're gonna have to register Dr. Jiwa as a weapon or something.
Yeah, like Robert.
Dr. Jiwa, come and join me.
Robert is registered as a dangerous weapon. You know that, Jiwa. We were talking about that yesterday. He does kung fu and tai chi, and he tell him what you can do. Tell him what you can do.
So when you get to a certain level in the tradition, you have to register yourself as a deadly weapon because you know every meridian and possible part of the body that you could not only harm but kill someone.
Dr. Jiwa knows every part. She knows it all.
I believe it.
Oh my God. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, I don't know if I should be saying this, but anyway, I'm going to say it anyway.
Come on, say it. Say it.
Okay. my husband, my ex-husband, when he was in the 12th grade, getting ready to graduate from high school, he was studying the martial art under this master. And he was walking home after dark in North Philly and was confronted by two guys. One of them had a knife. And because he defended himself and ended up killing this guy with his own knife, actually the guy turned this guy's hand, so he basically stabbed, the guy ended up stabbing his own self. He was arrested. Wow. and he was arrested because he wasn't registered as a deadly weapon, but the argument was that he should have known better. He knew what he was capable of doing and could have chose something differently. And so he had the choice of either going to jail or going into the Navy. Now you know which one he chose.
Wow.
But instead of going to MIT for college, he ended up going to the Navy in order to avoid jail time for being a dangerous weapon. And now, so fast forward, and he's married to me, and I'm practicing on him through chiropractic school, because he had to practice on somebody. And one day he just looked at me, he says, I think I just figured out who I am the most afraid of.
Wait a minute. And it was you, Jiwa. It was you.
It was me.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow, okay. And to this day, wow. He'll tell he said, he'll tell, my kids, he says, okay, your mom, you don't want to get your mom mad. You don't want to get your mom mad because, you just don't want that. Just trust me on this. You don't want to get your mom mad. And to this day, my children will say, you don't want to get mom mad. You don't want to get mom mad. It's everything to do with this whole thing of my soul's journey and it coming through. So, yeah. It's no joke, people. It's no joke.
I also have seen blackout moments with myself and other people that you're perfectly fine one moment, and you can go to from 0 to 60 in a matter of seconds. It's happened to me. I've had this experience, and I shouldn't say it's happened to me. It's what I chose in the moment because I didn't have the wherewithal in that moment to backpedal myself. I was like, shoom. And when you have those blackout moments, I remember my daughter had a blackout moment like this too. And my tendency and my daughter's tendency is to go for a knife, like I'm cutting something. I saw Journey said her tendency when she gets extremely angry is set somebody on fire. Jiwa, when you get that blazing anger, break people's limbs off. And when you get that blackout moment, this is not an excuse. Please understand what we're talking about. We're not talking about excuses. You don't have like Jiwa's husband, he or her former husband, he could not escape the consequences of his actions. He was given a choice. Either you go to jail because you did take someone's life in your blackout moment. We cannot excuse what you did in your blackout moment because you went berserk for a second. We understand people go berserk. That is why crimes of passion are treated differently, because people walk in the room and they see their lover in bed with someone and they're somewhere else instantaneously. So we do acknowledge that is part of the human experience. That is I have done it. I have seen it. I have done it. Well, my daughter had one of those kind of blackout moments when another blackout moments can trigger other people into blackout moments. So we were in our home and my daughter was talking on the phone, talking on the phone. And my husband at the time told her, get off the phone, da, da, da. Now, this was not her father. This was my husband at the time. So she was like, you're not, she was a teenager. She's in her 30s now. This was a long time ago. She was a teenager. You're not going to tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. He went in there and I knew something was going to happen. Like you could feel the tension rising. He went in that, just like Will Smith did last night. I've seen it. He got up, he went in the room, and I was like, whoa. Because I could feel a disturbance in the forest. He blacked out. I went into, and I heard, boom. When you hear that, I went in the room and they was scuffling. And I jump in trying to pull this man off of my teenage daughter because I don't know what he wasn't hitting her. I think he was trying to restrain her or try to get the phone from her, whatever they were trying to do. In a split second, it went to Mach 10 hair on fire. And she started fighting him. And next thing you know, I'm in there pulling the two of them apart, and then I push him into the other room. Now she gonna have a blackout moment. He had a blackout moment. Now she races downstairs and gets the knife out the butcher block. I don't know why we're pretending things like this don't happen. This is happening right now somewhere on the planet. Why do you think we're here praying every morning? If everybody was peaceful and enlightened all the time, we wouldn't need a Course in Miracles, would we? We would all be enlightened. We would all be little Buddhas and little Jesuses walking around the planet. We're not. That's why we're in A Course in Miracles. Can we remember that? My daughter went down. She went off. She went downstairs. She got a knife, and then he was scared. She was waving that knife, yelling to the top of, you could see blood red in her eyes. And I sense that these, in spirit realms, that these are negative energies attached to people. Not saying that we don't take full responsibility for everything we do, because of course we do. That we have harbored with ourselves spirits of anger. You know, it wasn't a big problem, but we didn't go in and address it all the way. We harbor all kinds of spirits of insecurity, and we don't see them until you get pressed all the way into a situation like this, and you're rah! And then afterwards you come back, you're like, I can't believe what I just did. When you see people before the blackout moment, in the blackout moment, and after the blackout moment, these are different people. After the blackout moment, this does not excuse what you did in your blackout moment. You're still going to have to pay your consequences. After the blackout moment, you will see the person sitting there like, I don't even know what just happened. How many people are in jail for that right now?
Countless.
A lot. Wow, crazy. I almost was. That happened to me many, many times in my relationships with the blackouts. I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. When you had those blackout moments, were you in your right mind?
No, absolutely not. I didn't even think I was even in my mind. And you know, the wild thing is, a lot of the times when that like happened to me, I felt as though, this sounds weird, but this is how it felt. It felt as though like my body was doing the actions, but like my consciousness couldn't tell my body to stop. And then I couldn't control it. So that's why every time like I would come out of, I call it my episode or whatever, or blackout, I would be very remorseful. I would feel very 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 remorseful of what I just did, and then I just do it again because I didn't understand how to control my emotions.
So when you had your blackout moment or your moment of let's say rage, right? You had a rage moment, and then you came to after your rage moment. You were a different person? What was your experience of that? Because we want to understand this so we don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same regular person who I was and be happy and chill. And be like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And then I'll get triggered again at a later date. You know, some moments will be more intense than others. And that's just happened. Like, I don't know. It felt like a curse. But yeah, that was my experience.
And then when did it stop? Because it did stop. You don't do it any longer.
Yeah, you know, how it stopped, a lot of the stuff was when, truthfully, a huge part was when my girlfriend at the time didn't tolerate it anymore.
What did she do? Did she fight you back, or did she just say, "I'm leaving you," or what happened? Or if you want to tell that, it's up to you.
Well, I would say like towards the end of the relationship, they started fighting towards me because I was already so like wanting to start again, and I was really, I guess I could say, learning to control the emotion, and I allowed them to like put their hands on me because I felt bad and I felt like I deserved it, and I felt like, okay, good, I'd rather just deal with my karma now with you. And I was like, okay, whatever. So of course I didn't like it, but I was just like, all right, like I know what I did, so I just felt like I deserved it. And also what they did, they gave me, they actually wrote a list of consequences. They wrote and gave me a list and told me if I do X, Y, and Z, then this would be the consequence. And it was like 10 of them on the list. And I knew that she meant it. And like one of them was like, she would, like if I put my hands on her, like she told me straight up, she said she was going to call the cops on me. And I've never had the cops called on me. I never like had any of those incidents. Like I was safe doing all of that. But like that was like one of the things that she wrote. But yeah, she gave me a list and told me the consequence, and I believed her. Like just through her energy, like I believed her, and I was kind of scared. I was like, I'm not play with her anymore.
I like that someone said, "Do this again, and here's what's going to happen." And I also like that you got the realization that because you had been punching people in the face or abusing people or whatever the case may be, or shaking people, whatever it was, it doesn't matter. That because you had done that to them, that when the tables turned and they did it to you, you accepted it because of guilt of having dished it out. Wow, that's deep. How about we forgive all of it? How about we forgive all attack, regardless of the direction it's going in? How about we forgive all guilt?
Well, that would be great if we didn't cherish our grievances and our false beliefs and our illusions. We like them. I'm dismantling them as we speak. And once I'm able to give up these cherished grievances, I think I can do so much more to be the light, to fulfill my function. And I know when things like this pop up. Now, I didn't really have a reaction to the slapping. I was just really like, what's going on here? I missed something. What I do know that I have work to do because I observed this. And I'm going to observe what parts of it pertain to me and what don't, which ones don't. And so definitely, like you said, Rev, this isn't about these entities. These are energetics, and we get to see for ourselves, how does this play out I get to see how it plays out for me. And what are my, what trigger, did this trigger me in any way? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be looking at it, and I'm going to be looking at the things that I need to give up, give forth, forgive, so that I'm never triggered by things that I want to be untriggerable. That's it. I'm complete.
I had a powerful realization in the moment when you were speaking, Dr. B. I had an experience a couple of years back with my previous girlfriend where we were in a situation and like she jumped on me and she just started beating me and I didn't fight her back and I was in victim over that whole situation until this particular moment. And I just realized I did the Chris Rock, and I do that quite often when I am in like a heated moment. My blackout moment isn't physical abuse. My blackout moment is always verbal abuse. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying will be the true facts, but the way I will present the true facts will always be in a way that I go below the belt. So I realized in that moment where I got smacked, I definitely provoked that with the things that I was saying. Like I said, it was factual information, but the way I presented it was very poor. And I see that when I closed my eyes and I was listening, I saw that happen in damn near every relationship of my life. So I was having a private conversation with Reverend Love the other day, and we were talking about bully and bully energy because I had got triggered by a bully, and basically we came to the conclusion of, okay, well, how do you bully people? And I might not have been able to see it until this moment that I absolutely bully people with my words. Like when I get mad, my blackout moment is I'm coming for you with my words. I will never put my hands on you, but you will feel the slice. And I was like, and now in this moment, I'm like, damn, that's exactly what I do to people that I say I love. I will come for you. It'll be factual. So I'm going to stand by like, oh, well, I just told you the truth. The truth don't care who tell it, but it's how you tell it and how you present it and why you're presenting it. So the blackout moment may not always be a physical blackout moment, but words sometimes hurt people more than a slap in the face ever could. So I just had a true awakening that I didn't wake up with, that I didn't see last night. But in this moment, I'm just sitting here like, damn. When Dr. G said she was dismantling people, I was like, damn, Dr. G was dismantling them. But then Spirit showed me how I dismantle people with my words. And it's just as harmful and it's just as hurtful and has just as much of a long-lasting impact. And I'm complete.
And we know when we're going there with our words. We know it. And we know when we're going, I'm going to get this dig in, this one's going to hurt. We know when we're doing that. Okay? We know.
I practice them in my head. I used to practice them. When they say this, I'm going to say that. And then they're going to say this, and then I'm going to hit them with that. I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't really care to do that anymore because I realize it's useless energy. For what? Let's just be the light.
Be the light. Be the light. How come no one talks about it when the housewives? You have grown women scrapping on TV all the time. That's not okay either. We have to look at that. We get to look at that. Yes, family?
Well, you know what's so interesting? I had a conversation when I saw the slap, and I remember you saying why didn't you slap him and not punch him? That was an interesting choice. I remember having a conversation with the guy I was dating at one point, and he said, if you ever want to humiliate a man, slap him instead of punch him.
Whoa, really?
Slapping is more humiliating than a punch. Wow. I never knew that. He said, yeah.
Is that man law?
I guess that's man law. I didn't know anything about that. So, can you verify that, Robert? Is that something? Is that a thing?
It is on one level. The other is complete annihilation.
Oh. And what is it? Was it having something to do with slap you in the face to shut up? It didn't look like he was trying to hurt him. It looked like he was trying to shut him up. Like, we in this conversation right now. We're not doing this. That's what it seemed to be.
Reverend Val, this is Dia. Can I speak?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, let me preface by saying I don't own a TV, so I didn't know anything about all of this until this morning. And initially, I kind of felt salty because, like I said, I don't watch TV, and I haven't watched it since 2000, unless I'm over somebody's house. I don't have it in my house to do daily. But I usually keep up with stuff, if it comes across the internet. But I didn't even have that this past weekend because I had been working on my own life, and I started watching TV years ago because I had a revelation that while I was sitting there watching other people live their lives, they were getting paid and I wasn't. So my motto became, I'd rather be getting paid. So with that being said, I kept questioning, why am I hearing about this? Because if I didn't see it, like if I wasn't watching it live like everybody else was the other day, then I felt like, okay, it didn't apply to me. But now, how did I attract it into my day first thing in the morning by hearing it? Mm. So when you kept directing us to look at our own selves and what's going on in our own lives, I knew what happened. Mm. Okay, so I do personal shopping, and an issue happened with me yesterday, and I had a grievance about it, and it triggered me. And when I get triggered, I internalize my anger because that's what I trained myself to do. Because when I was a kid, I grew up with my big brother, and so I learned to fight early on. And I learned to express myself through fighting because I had to with my brother. But I never did that outside of my home with any other people. I only did that with my brother and my cousins. We would wrestle in the summers. So I just had that in me. And so as I got older, I just learned that if I get angry, I gotta stuff it. Because if I let it out, I'm going to kill somebody. It's not I think I might, or maybe I know I will, because the only thing that had kept me from killing my brother was that he was my brother. And I knew that my mama, I was more scared of my mama than anything else. And I knew if I killed my brother,
so was I
was going to have to deal with my mama, right? So I said that to say that as I got older, all of me stuffing all of that just turned into what is called rage. And like I always use the analogy of the Incredible Hulk, I became David Banner. And just like Dr. G was saying, you don't want to see Mama when she's angry. That's how I felt about myself. And I never wanted people to see that side of me. So I was like David Banner. And I just kept trying to hide that green monster inside of me. So I would try to always do the right thing, say the right thing to keep myself from getting into a situation where I would get angry. Because I never worried about people bullying me or anything. I worried about myself hurting them. I worried about myself doing something that was so ballistic that I couldn't come back, that I would just be sitting in jail for the rest of my life. That was always my worry. So it made me be a quiet person, because I felt like if I'm quiet, my dad just said, just keep not saying walk away, because that's what he would do when him and my mom would get into an argument. He'd shut his mouth and walk away. And me and my dad are both Libra, so I just decided I was going to do whatever my dad did because it looked safe. And I took that to school with me, and it kept me out of fights. But my senior year in high school, when we had senior night, out drinking and what have you, I did like Harmony, and I said things that scared her so bad that she reported it to her father, and my mother had to come to the school and all that. But I never touched her because I knew if I touched her, that was it. Okay? And so all those things progressing all my life led me to the thoughts that I was having this weekend and the conversation that I had with my accountability partner in our meeting this past weekend. And I was telling her, I've been a licensed, trained nail technician since 1996. But I haven't been a practicing nail technician because of a situation that happened to me in 1996 of something that somebody said to me that I internalized and made into a belief about my own self. But I said all that to say, in reference to the whole Will Smith situation, is that even though I didn't see that situation in action or even the replays, just listening to you all, I could see the scenes in my mind because I visualized very well. But I saw it from a perspective of, I felt like as Will, I was sitting there thinking, I'm always doing what I always do and never speak up for myself, never stand up for myself, always letting somebody say something, do something, and don't never speak up because I'm always afraid of what's going to happen if I put my hands on somebody. And I felt like if I was Will, as I'm thinking of myself via right now, the whole reason that situation from 1996 carried over to, what is it, 2022, is because I always felt like I should have spoken up and said something, but I didn't. And this was a situation involving money. It was where I was working for someone and they had control over the money, and they basically told me because they weren't satisfied with the work I did, they weren't giving me the money that was supposed to go to me. Okay.
Okay, we about to have a fight right now. We about to have a fight. Let's step outside.
but because I was afraid of what I might do, I said to her, okay, it's fine because I failed my hands-on exam anyway, so I can't work, so I have to leave anyway, so I'll just leave. But when I left, I put all of it down, and I said to myself that I wasn't any good and all this kind of stuff. I carried that over. But what it all boiled down to is that the anger that I had was for myself, not speaking up for myself, not taking any kind of action that I felt like I should have taken. Because I felt like if I had just told that lady, you're going to pay me my money, I did the work, so what, blah, 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 I wouldn't have carried that with me and turned it into all these other self-sabotaging things when it's always time. I mean, countless things that I've done when it got down to it, when I was about to get my award, I sabotaged the thing myself because I was fearful about living my life publicly. I didn't want anybody to be able to put me in a situation of humiliation like that lady did that day. And so I just thought, okay, that's why I'm hearing this, because when I had the situation happen yesterday while I was working, it was one of those things where I get triggered when I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm trying to do what's right, and somebody accuses me of doing something wrong. You want to really see the green come out of me, do that to me, and I go ballistic. But because of A Course in Miracles, I thank the lady, And I walked myself out of there, and I kept saying, forgive and be happy. Forgive and be happy. Let go of grievances. I am loved, and I hold no grievances. And I was able to shake that off and keep on working. And I thought I had forgotten all about it, but when I woke up this morning and you brought up that whole issue with Will Smith, I was like, oh, I thought I was over his grievances, and I got angry all over again. I realized that was why, because I felt like when I get triggered, when I hear people talking too loud, when I hear people sounding like they're fussing, I get triggered because I have to hold myself up from wanting to go and step in and fight for them. And I did that the whole day after that incident yesterday. And so when this happened, I was like, okay, I take full responsibility for real doing that, because that's what I have been thinking about doing all day long, is when people would say something that made me think back to that incident and not standing up and speaking up for myself. I thought about some people, and because even though I don't watch syndicated TV, I still watch YouTube all the time, and I watch a lot of Indian movies. And one thing that always stood out to me is they will slap each other in the face in a hot minute if they feel insulted. And I was like, ooh, that's how I feel.
Wait a minute, in Indian movies, they slap each other in the face?
Yes.
Oh.
They'll backslap each other in a hot minute if they feel like you have crossed your limits with them. And so when you said that's what we did, I just laughed at first because I was like, Indian people do it all the time. You say something out of the way, you do a backslap.
I did not know Indian people be slapping each other like that. You talk about a whole back slap. This wasn't a back slap. This was a slap, like a slap your mama. This wasn't a back slap. But you said that Indian people back slap each other all the time.
That's what they do in the movies. I'm not saying it's a real life thing.
But I mean, it's portrayed in the movies. Okay.
If somebody is insulting you, your family, or whatever, they will backslap you in a hot minute.
Well, we do know that art imitates life. So if you see it in the movie and the culture, it's something that's happening.
Right. So I took that into myself to say, okay, that's how I can express my anger quickly and efficiently without going ballistic. And when you were recounting the incident, I'm seeing this in my head. I haven't seen it in real life, but that's how it played out in my head, that it was quick, it was efficient, and it got the point across, and now that person knows you crossed your limits, and you will not do this ever again because this was done out in public. So I say all that to say that that's what came to my mind, and so I'm glad that I did hear about it, even though I still have no desire to go back and run the tapes and see it for myself or anything, because I'm sure, like Dr. Yu said, from here to eternity, it'll be being replayed. So, but I did feel grateful that the topic came up, because it helped me to release and clarify another grievance that I had. And now that issue has been exposed to the light, now I know that I can take that mantle off and move forward without that heaviness, that guilt, that shame that I always carry for what I did and what I didn't do. Like Queen Hadassah was saying, I have scenarios, I run them in my head over and over from those years up until these years of what I would have done, what I should have done, what I could have done and didn't do. And because I didn't, then I'm beating myself up because I'm feeling like I'm just a punk. You know, nobody, my brother and them always said, "I'll never let nobody punk you." And I always feel like I let people punk me if I didn't
myself or whatever. So it's just, I mean, I did what I mentioned too. I feel like Robert is my spirit brother, because even though I have not been registered legally as a drill sergeant in the military, we had to be trained to the point where we could train other people in hand-to-hand combat. So I know that I'm a deadly weapon because of all of the knowledge that I had to obtain as an instructor. And not only in hand-to-hand combat, all kind of tactical combat techniques, but also in weaponry. So that in and of itself added to all the rage that I had pent inside of me as a young woman. I registered myself as a legal weapon, so to speak, because I knew that if I ever put my hands on people, that is how I feel. And if it was one of those blackout moments like Dr. G, where I was going to feel like, okay, this could escalate and this could turn really ugly, and I don't want it to be. So I don't even touch people in that way for the same reasons that she was saying. And also I feel like it's just because of that not knowing when I was younger how to deal with my feelings in a positive way is what made me afraid and made me stuff those feelings and made me internalize it. And I have basically annihilated my own self, so to speak, physically, with my own thoughts as a result of all of that. So I feel like after I had counseling, because after I came back from my last deployment, I had to go through counseling for myself, for my whole mental health and all, because I actually got put out of my last unit because a guy reported to the commanders that he felt threatened by me because I said something that made him feel afraid for his life.
Wow.
So I had all of those issues weighing on me, and I had to go through counseling, and the counseling was cognitive behavioral therapy. And what it helped me learn was how to properly express my emotions and stop internalizing them onto myself, trying to prevent myself from hurting people. And so because I had that, I feel like I'm better able to deal with stuff now, because now I got more into my physical activities, and I got more into my creative activities to help me channel that stuff into the arts and the physical activities that I like to do. And it has been so freeing, I'll say, for my mental health as well as my emotional health. And it makes me a better person. So, like when you all met me in Miami, you actually saw the best of me.
Yeah, because I saw a bright ray of sunshine. You had a huge, bright energy, a bright ray of sunshine. That's what I saw. And the way you were dancing, you were so happy. It was like your inner child came out. That's what I saw.
And it was, and then she did, because we both were happy, and that was why, because it was the first time I had publicly seen that weight was off of me, and that I actually felt free. And so with all of that, I'm complete.
Woo, dear, that is delicious. And quite a lot of comments on YouTube as well. Both the Reverend Valerie Love YouTube channel, please absolutely connect on YouTube, and the Christian Witches YouTube channel, please absolutely connect on YouTube, and the Reverend Valerie Love Facebook fan page, please connect on Facebook. Wherever you feel inspired, Connect with the Christian Witches Club. If you're in the room, tap on the club, that green house at the top. Connect with the club. This is in connection and engagement. That's what we're about. We're not about following. Follow your higher self. Don't follow people. Follow higher self. Because, at any moment I could go off and slap somebody.
Hey, Red, can I say something else?
Come on.
I also want to say the other side. So having this knowledge and registering yourself, you also have a responsibility. So I'm saying that I have this ability. That doesn't mean that that's my first choice. In Tai Chi and Kung Fu, as you know, with that the mental aspect and the Qigong breathing, we are told constantly to go within. First, you assess the situation. That cannot be your first mode of action. That will actually kick you out of any worthy martial arts training. If they see within you that you have that, I just want to go out and be Jackie Chan, I want to go out and push people, they won't train you any longer, because that's not what it is for. It is a responsibility that says, I have this knowledge, therefore I'm going to walk away from you. I don't have time. We are told every single class, what are your options first? No, man, you know what? I'm going to let you have that. I'm going to laugh. It's not personal. It's not about me, and walk away. This is knowledge in the extreme situations, i.e., I'm in a dark alley and you got a gun or you got a knife and you're about to do harm to my body. Now you're in my space. I have this knowledge. So there is that responsibility. And also when you register, it is saying to the court that in public or wherever I am, when I'm in this situation, I have to let that person know loudly, I'm sorry, I have knowledge to kill you. And that when you're in court cases, there are varying ones, and the Sifu has to come, that when you're in court, they will literally ask you, did you warn the person 3 times out loud?
Wow.
And so there is your responsibility on the aspect of that. I didn't want it to seem like, I'm a deadly weapon. Yeah, I'm big and bad. No, you have the greater responsibility when you take that on and when you register. I just want to say that side.
Robert, I was wondering if this is as accurate. This has been my observation of it, that people that have that kind of knowledge actually fight less than people who don't. They don't go off.
Exactly,
Ray. Yeah.
Exactly. I, being a man of 5'7", was confronted much more when I didn't have the knowledge than now. I don't even have it now. And that's awesome.
So it's a whole new level of self-mastery when you're in the martial arts. I love watching the Shaolin monks, SHAOLIN. I love watching the Shaolin monks because they're breaking stones with 2 fingers, like tapping on a stone, breaking it, all the Jackie Chan things, all of these things. And it calls for a level of self-mastery. And this is not only body. Martial arts and Qigong and Tai Chi are not only training the body. This is mental, emotional, spiritual. Would that be accurate, Robert, that it's touching all of these aspects of the consciousness?
It is indeed. And they'll tell you when you get in there that is more important than what your body do. Your body will catch up. Absolutely.
So you have to actually say 3 times out loud, I can kill you. I can kill you. I can kill you. No, really, my body is a deadly weapon. I can kill you. You have to say that 3 times? Wow.
Yes. Because when you're in public, and let's say if this happened in public, of course there are always going to be witnesses. There are cameras around. You have to say that so that it will be looked at legally. This is what I've seen twice, that you were confronted, you didn't have an option to save yourself, and you warned the person. They had the knowledge of what you know, and they still chose to advance with you.
That would have helped last night. Chris, you going too far. I'm about to come slap you. Here go another joke. Chris, you see, in a dialogue that could happen. Bruh, bruh, you coming to the line, bro. You coming to the line. And then as it get, and they keep going, what? I mean, I grew up with this in the hood. We did this all the time. People would be like, bruh, check yourself. And the person keep going because the jokey person got jokes. Don't they? The jokey person got jokes.
And that's right. And Dr. G, when you brought up something great, when you the brought to my mind when you were speaking of, I think you said someone you were dating about the slap. I remember a few years ago it became popular on a radio or TV or something about people standing there, two dudes face to face and slap. See who could slap each other the hardest. Do you all remember that?
Oh, yeah, they used to play that. I didn't play that game because the dudes used to play it. I didn't play that game.
That's right, the dudes, but it got so bad they had to cancel that. And they were saying that was the ultimate disrespect to a man. So yes, G, I got what you were saying. It brought that to mind later on. Absolutely.
And Alina would like to share. So Alina and Money in the Vortex. Woohoo! Money in the Vortex! Celebrating Super Chat on YouTube. Much appreciation for the Super Chat. All right, and that's from Jessica. Love you, Jessica. Billionfold return to you. Alina, you're up.
All right. Peace and love to the gods and goddesses in the room.
Did you say gods and goddesses?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Love it.
Yes. Well, peace to everyone and peace and love. And so I can see myself in all aspects of this situation. I can see myself as the one with the mouth provoking it. I can see myself as the one to hit. And so, and I knew about it from people saying stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I brought this to me some type of way early this morning. I went to take my daughter to the thing and I heard something about it. So it's on YouTube because I don't have a TV at all either. And so I saw so many different things, like my son, my situation with my youngest son, my daughter, and my oldest son. They got together to go meet my younger son to help him out. And he's gay. And I say that because I guess that I probably didn't let him know that I loved him anyway. And so when they were telling him that I was giving him some things, and my daughter went last night to get it, and I got up at 4 to take her. And they said, Mama's giving us these things. He said, Mom? And I was just like, yeah. And so then my oldest son was trying to talk to me about something. And the conversation was going, he thought it was going so well the way I explained things to him. He said, hold on, Mom, let me patch Malaya in. That's my granddaughter. He wanted my granddaughter to witness how I was talking with him. And so there's been a lot of change in me. So people are different. And then he said, you remember how you was raised as like dogmas in church, like so much this, so strict this, so strict that. And so, and then they just like, well, now they felt like they could relax now. And I felt like, well, maybe I've been holding them in bondage. Like, they had to do this way, they close this way, put this way, put that way. And I have been holding them in bondage all of this time. So he said they could relax. So I felt that was good. And then he was telling me about him coming back to the old neighborhood, which is the hood in Oakland, and he went to that. And then I was telling him, he said, but I can't help nobody unless I get to where I want to be. I said, well, could I share something with you? And I get that from you guys, the way you guys talk, Icy. He said, yeah. I said, so you can be the mentee and a mentor wherever you are. So you can mentor people, because you just told us that yesterday. You can mentor people from where you are, where what you've learned. And then there'll be people that will be mentoring you. And he goes, and he just relaxed. He goes, oh. And he said, because I was so perplexed about this. And then he said, he felt like he should do something. I said, well, you remember how the church tells you to get confirmation? I said, don't always look for an outward confirmation, for an inward revelation. And he's going, oh, really? I say, yeah, because sometimes people don't know where you are and what spirit is telling you to do. And then he was like, oh, okay. I said, things can be confirmed as you go along doing everything. So as I was sharing what I was learning, they were just listening to me, and then they wanted their kids to hear. Then my grandson, he came out of nowhere. He wanted to treat me to something. Then yesterday was my birthday. I called some people who I ended on a bad note. I don't know why I did that. So I called this one guy, and I said, peace to the guy. And who is this? And I said, this is Alina. And then he was so shocked to hear from me, and he was just welcoming it. He said, what happened to you? What happened to you? And I was thinking, and I was still the same Alina. And he was like, no. And so we talked, and there was a healing there with us. So my son, there was a guy, so I had more than one church fight. So just to be clear.
You know, it's very fascinating. Were you the person on Instagram, no, on YouTube that was saying that they had a fight in church?
Yeah, more than one.
More than one. And I got to tell you something. Someone said fight in church. I got to tell you something. We had a family fight over Thanksgiving at the neighbor's house. So I don't know, fights break out quite a few places. And I have seen fights break out among ministers just like anybody else. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I've seen that too. So I was in ministry too. So
it is humbly we acknowledge no one is exempt from the lessons. No one, and no one is exempt from the law.
Yes, I like it how you keep it real, Kaisi. Are you still talking?
No, I'm listening, and I'm also intuiting that people really we don't think we have people on pedestals until something like this happens. Well, you know, you done already done it. Uncle Joe done it. You did it. You did it with your kids, but now all of a sudden Will Smith did it. It's not acceptable. We've all done it. Don't play.
And I forgave myself too. I said, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I forgive myself for fighting in church. I forgive myself for, putting my hands on my children the way that I would do, bam. I just, boop. My daughter was in school one time, and she was very good at school. She was very ahead of herself. So I homeschooled, and then after that, I put them in Muslim school. My children have been really exposed to a lot of different things. And then I had so then at the summer school, she went to a public summer school because our last year of school, she wanted to go to a public school. She was way ahead, so she only got the chance to do half a semester. And then she just went on it because she had too many credits. So she didn't really have to go. She wanted to experience it. And she wasn't what she cracked up to be, she said. So she was in that class. Dr. Brax speaks several languages, and she's a Black woman. She's very smart and sweet. And my daughter, I had just dropped off a Spanish dish that I made from scratch because that's my family is all mixed up. So I knew how to make this dish, and I dropped it off. But something told me go back. Something's wrong. It was the spirit that told me to go back, but the spirit didn't tell me to do what I did. So when I went back, I doubled back, and I got on the freeway, and I came right back. And so I went back to the classroom. My daughter had her back turned to Dr. Brax, and she was chewing gum. And my daughter didn't act like that. And so Dr. Brax was trying to get her attention. I guess she was showing out. And so I said, bam, right in her face.
You slapped who? You slapped your daughter, or you slapped the doctor?
So my daughter, I was taking up for the doctor.
Oh, you slapped your daughter in front of everybody in the church.
She was trying to get my daughter's attention, and my daughter turned her back to her.
Oh, and that set you off.
Yes, and was
If I had ever turned my back to my mama, I promise you I would not be sitting here talking to y'all right now. I promise
But
you.
she turned to
No, I would have been out of this life. See you next lifetime. No, that wouldn't. No, my mama turned my back on her or anyone in authority that was one of her friends or one of my teachers. She would have stomped my ass instantaneously. No, that wouldn't. Okay, continue. Now I understand. I'm with you.
My daughter was chewing gum, and I said, "Bip," and the gum would fly across, and then she was like, her head would turn, and she looked up. Where you come from? She wouldn't know where.
Wait a minute. Your daughter thought you were gone.
Yeah.
So she was decided she was gonna get brand new because mama ain't here.
Yeah.
And then she didn't know you had snuck back in.
Yeah.
Oh man. And when you slapped her, the gum went flying.
Yes.
Okay.
That was my last time I ever touched my daughter though. And then she turns around where it's like, where'd you come from? She's like,
family.
and then she turns
I don't know why we want to act like Will and Chris and Jada are exceptions. This shit happens every day. Okay, continue.
And she apologized to Dr. Braxton. And I said it would never happen again. And Dr. Preston, I'm sure it won't. So then my daughter, I went on, she passed the class with an A, but
I'm sure she did.
Never disrespected Dr. Braxton again. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget her name, Dr. But she was a very sweet lady. So my son was 15. And my son is very smooth skinned, the babies. That's the one they went to go help. My daughter flew on the plane to go help him. And so, he has some things going on, like the disability and stuff.
Alina, I'm gonna ask you to give us the goods, Alina, without giving us a whole bunch of story. Give us the goods, Alina, because we know you got the goods.
Yeah. The guy jumped on his back at the church, and he came home and told his mother. And he said, I felt defenseless. He jumped on my back in a sexual manner or whatever. And then I called the guy. I said, Rico, or whatever. I'm not going to say that. Well, I said, please don't ever do that again. He said, I can do whatever I want, to whomever I want, whenever I want, and ain't nothing you can do about it. I said, where are you at right now? I said, okay.
However, the man was speaking truth. You can do whatever you want to whomever you want at any time you want, and there's nothing you can do about it. You will have the consequences of the universe. Of course, you'll have the consequences. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back. I had a golf club. I went down. I hit it. I went down to the church, and Holly answered the door. I said, oh, hi. He said, hey, Auntie. I said, how you doing, baby? I said, is Rico there? He said, yeah. And then I whipped out the thing, and I started running through the church.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me understand this. So you went to the church. He was at the church. You had the golf club hidden. Then when you asked nicely at the door, is he here? Yes. Then you ran through the church with the golf club.
Yeah.
This ought to be a movie. Okay, continue.
And so my son is running after me, and Holly's going, Rico, run. And he's not listening. So I ran to the room. Rico didn't do it. And then when I got out, I said, shoot. I whipped it out like a ninja. And he looked at me, and I just said, shoot. I just started whipping him with it like I was his mama. And then I said,
wait a minute, you was whipping him with the golf club.
Yes, I was going, you can hear it going, shoot. And he was like,
oh my God.
My son is sitting there, and then Holly is trying to stop me, and he couldn't stop me. I hit his head, and he's like, whoa, shit, like that. So they jumped back, and then I was hitting him. I don't know what was happening in my mind, and then I said, you ain't gonna never touch my child again. I was like, whoop, 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 whoop. And then he got on the ground, he had his head on his head, and he was like, no, I'm not. Then I said, well, let me get out of here before the police.
Look, You had a Medea moment. You know Medea does this all the time.
Get out before the police come.
Yeah, you had a Medea
Come
moment.
on, Mike. I said,
Yeah, because Medea would do that, and then she'd be like, "Oh, let me get out of here because the popo coming." Because we know when we calm back down, we know exactly what happened. Okay, so what did you learn from all this? What's your lesson?
my lesson is to control myself. Number one, and I could have handled that in so many different ways, but the bishop said to me, well, I would never have to worry about him messing with any more kids in his church because we have told him several times. That's what the bishop had to say. The bishop is dead now. That bishop was in Texas, so he learned. And another time, I put a lady's hair in church. She stood up. The prophecy wasn't going right. She lied on me.
Wait a minute, Lina. Wait a minute. A lady stood up to prophesy in church.
She was prophesying.
Oh, she was not prophesying. She was prophesying. And she was talking about you in church.
Yeah.
And you pulled the wig off? What happened? You pulled the wig off or you what happened?
I pulled her hair.
You pulled her hair.
That's not so. And then she said something. Then I said something.
Okay, and family, I just want to ask a question here. And Alethea on YouTube says, when I would act stupid, my mom would put me in a headlock until I chilled out. I think we have firmly established that we all have a mechanism within ourselves that can turn violent. I think we've all established that. And I think we've all established that that would not be a good thing to let that mechanism go unchecked.
No.
And I think we all have also established that we are not immune and that that's why we're here every day, so that we may take ourselves on at deep levels where this stuff lives, so that we will not keep repressing and then having these outbursts. Yes?
Yes. But what I learned today, from yesterday's lesson, it was, even though it was my birthday, I called people to apologize to them and to sincerely change some things. And so I forgave myself for a lot of stuff yesterday. Then this morning when I found out about that, I forgave myself because I can be quick like that. While you talking, I just move. I just hit you. And so she was prophesying, and so she probably won't I don't think she prophesied since that time, but that was a while ago.
But remember, here's the other part of it that we want to be mindful of too, the law. So Alina, while you were having that experience with her, the key is, what in me is creating this experience right here, right now? Is this person showing me that I lied to me about me? Do I lie on me about me? What right here and right now is what caused me? Do we ever, in the moment we usually cannot think because the emotion and intelligence are on a seesaw. So when intelligence goes high, emotion goes low. And when emotion goes high, intelligence goes low. And that's when we find ourselves doing these things. Do we ever reflect and say, what in my consciousness caused me to be having this experience? That is the golden question. That's always going to be the golden question, right?
That's why I apologize. That's why I apologized to that guy yesterday, because even though at the time, months ago, I felt that I was justified, but as I've been doing this course, I know exactly why he said what he said to me in the way that he said what he said to me. So it wasn't nothing derogatory or nothing either, but I know why he did it. I know I called that to me. So, I apologize for that. And then with that lady, I used to not always want my mother to know what I was doing or whatever. So I wasn't deceptive with my grandmother, but I probably was with my mom. My grandmother used to say, "She told you what? Gee, you believe that?" So, I could see myself in that too. And I definitely saw myself in slapping, and I definitely saw myself the one talking, provoking the person to slap. So, in all of this, it's helping, but every day
just since last week, since last Thursday, I kept hearing this word every day. And I say this to my daughter every day. What if God is all of us? And then we always say, it is. He is.
He is.
And so that song says, what if God was one of us? But when you start seeing people as God, and you address them as such, then you don't see the judgment leaves. I know for me, I can't tell about nobody else's experience, but in my experience, as I see my children as myself, and I see me and my children, and I see me and my grandchildren, then I don't have that judgment. I see me and my son wanted that acceptance because he chose a different way. I chose a different way to be. My mother didn't accept some things, and I see myself with him. And then I see myself in a lot of different things now. So as I see myself, now God is not separate. It's not some sky God that I'm talking to. Because as I'm seeing people as God, I'm seeing God as in me. And for a long time, it was hard to experience God in me. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because when we see God everywhere and we know God is all, He is the only God, know yourself as God, everyone's God, all is God. You can't be out of God, which means you can't be out of love. Then, like we said this morning in our review, we know I will there be light. And I know that this is an opportunity for me to see the light. And I know that this is being brought to me by the universe. Even if I didn't see it on TV or wherever, it was brought to me. I didn't see it either. I don't watch the Oscars. I don't even have TV. I watch things like, Netflix. I don't have regular TV or cable TV. And here in Mexico, if I was watching TV, it would be to learn more Spanish because everything's in Spanish anyway. And I can only imagine what Mexican TV was saying about that last night. It's probably hilarious. And so I watch things like Netflix or, something like Amazon Prime or YouTube, something that I purposefully, intentionally chose to watch, not just mindless programming, because it is programming. So when you consider that, even if you didn't see it, it came to you. And why did it come in front of you? It came in front of you for some reason. It came in front of all of it. This is a global lesson because now it looks like it's in front of the whole globe. What are we learning? We're learning just like the C word and the P word of 2020 and 2021 that I do not give voice to and energy to. We were in a global lesson. What did we learn? How did we transform? And we're in another global lesson because just about probably everybody on the planet, unless you're not, on the web or whatever, which there are people that live off grid, people that don't know anything about it. They don't need to know anything about it. They're sitting on the side of a mountain sipping some tea and doing yoga probably. They don't know anything about it because maybe they worked out all the violence out of their system or all the insults out of their system or all of the attacking with words, because I know this is going to hurt, or the attacks back with hands. Or all the hurt of I have this condition or all the public humiliation. Maybe they worked all that stuff out and they don't know anything about it. They're sitting in an ashram right now with no internet. They don't know anything about it. If it's in front of us, it's for us. I love something Dia said. I stuffed so much anger for so long that I would not let myself be around someone who would provoke me because I know I would open that can of whip ass and they'd be gone and I'd be sitting in jail for the rest of my life. Have we looked at that family? What am I stuffing? What am I not giving voice to? What am I allowing? What are my little irritations? Because like the Course says, your little irritations are rage, unacknowledged rage. Let's wrap up. Who's going to wrap us up? Because we got plenty of lessons out of this. Woo, plenty of lessons. Speak now, forever hold your peace, and we go to the Galactic Signature.
Before you go to the Galactic Signature, can I just explain this? Just one word. It's called influence.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And influence, it came to me some time ago. I shared it in my club.
And I'm really applying it to my life now, to these lessons now. So the influence, the original word was for astrologers. It wasn't for the mainstream at first. And it meant to be for the elements to influence you according to the character of men. You can only be influenced, you can only be swayed as much as your character lies. That's why certain moons and certain days and certain things affect different people different ways according to their maturity and their development. And that really stuck with me. According to our character, according to my growth, maybe now I'm being influenced in a different way from this course and from the coaching and from Ascension differently. Because now as I'm growing, I can receive things differently. I just want to share that. That's it.
That is delicious. Someone also said on YouTube something really profound. Rena Love and Light says, Will and Jada were very good friends with Chris Rock. Sometimes he will slap a friend first because they know better. We don't know. There could be some real familiarity there. We don't know, right? That's a good point, Rena Love and Light. That, what? Bitch, we was just talking about this last night. I know you're not airing my dirty laundry out like this. Shut your mouth, right? It could be. We don't know. We do not know. So thank you, everyone, for sharing all your love. Please withhold judgment. Don't judge yourself or anyone else. Let's look at attacks, guilt, judgment, irritation, rage, hurt. We have much to look at. Look at how we respond when we're triggered. Become unfuckwithable. That's my aspiration. I'm not there yet. I'm just like Will Smith. I'm not there yet. You say something off, you might get a slap. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in advance because I have slapped a lot of people with my tongue. All right, Galactic Signature.
Yay.
Delicious.
So, family, you've heard it here. We have in the room issues that we have to deal with: anger, violence. We have registered and unregistered deadly weapons. We have people who can dismember you.
I had no idea we had so much violence present.
It's apparently an issue that we must examine because it's here. So let's use today's energy of the Galactic Signature, the Red Clan, the Blood Clan. So if you decide to choose love today, let's get this party started with our Galactic Signature for today, which is, Kin 209, Red Magnetic Moon. I unify in order to purify, attracting flow. I seal the process of universal water with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power double. I unify in order to purify, attracting flow. I seal the process of universal water with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power doubled. I unify in order to purify, attract, and flow. I seal the process of universal water with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power double, red magnetic moon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate and honor and love you, Queen Hadassah. Everyone in the clubhouse, for sure. Absolutely. Everyone in the clubhouse room, would you do us a wonderful, wonderful gift? Would you tap on the little share button at the bottom of the screen? And would you be so kind as to share slap recap or whatever you desire? Once we close the room, you cannot share it on Clubhouse. That's what I found. It'll only give you a link to share it outside of Clubhouse. So please, if you would tap that, let's get a little share party going. Tap that little share icon at the bottom and just put like, hey, you got to look at this take on the slap recap, or love on the slap, or slapping with love, or slap me with love. Can you share? Can you share? Let us spread this message around the world. Bad news travels fast. Be the one who lights good news all around the world. Bad news travels fast. Let's be the spreaders of the light. Let's bring the light. Thank you for the shares. We love it. We love it. We love it. All right, family. Love you. Have a beautiful day. God bless.
Thank you.
Peace. Send some love, everybody on stage. Send some love. Send some love.